Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Cordant. We are back for some more Pillars of Eternity with the Triple Crown difficulty settings. We are currently in Sun in Shadow. We have come a long way to reach this place. We are hunting for Thaos. We've been getting some glimpses, some visions of Thaos and Iovara around this room. But yesterday I had no more time to continue this, and this would be a long section, I imagine. So we're gonna have a fresh episode for this part over here. Some of you might know what happens here, some others might be expecting what's gonna happen here. So let's make the most of it, and let's hope that we do not die on this section. So, first things first. I expect something to happen here, so I am going to prepare accordingly. And we're all gonna be very well fed for this interaction. I don't need traps, these can go away. I could bring in Console Hot to help out, but Piggy shall be my companion of choice. He is the one that's gonna help me defeat Thaos. He shall stay where he is. We're gonna have Dragon Meat Dish for some extra endurance, might and resolve. I had prepared 6 dishes for this occasion, and I'm just gonna give everybody a lot of food here. I'm gonna give everybody perception, and I had something for dexterity as well, the sweet pie. And for my people, actually everybody can also eat some fishy for a very healthy and balanced diet. Let's just hope people don't start throwing up all this. No, I think everybody's fine. We have a bunch of buffs. Do we need all of this? Not really, but why not use them, right?
Of course.
Let's see what we find here. Quest completed, Memories of the Ancients, and we just got 20,000 experience, which is no joke. So, whether or not that happens, we would seem to have unfinished business, and I need to find him as soon as I can. This is talking about Thaos. Okay, I'm actually gonna read all this. I have done as Adelumgan advised. I have been carried safely into the depths of brave Iaman with the blessing of the gods, who would have me stop Thaos before he sends the souls of Dyrwood's Hollowborn to be consumed by his goddess, Woedica. We have also discovered that these gods are not actual gods, they are man-made fabrications for different ideals to govern over the people of the world of Eora. Whether or not that happens, we would seem to have unfinished business, and I need to find him as soon as I can. The whispers in my mind are louder now, and no amount of rest is any relief. By the time I reach him, I may be as lost as Merwald was. I have reached the Engwithan machine I saw in my dreams. Thousands of Dyrwooden souls have been drawn to it. Thaos cannot be far. Okay, I'm still gonna go in stealth, just in case. Where are you, Thaos? You bitch. This is a very large Engwithan machine. There he is. You've come to a circular room, grand and domed, its walls lined with adra and trimmed with copper. At the far end, a great pillar of adra pierces the floor from below like a ragged spike, its shimmering texture giving the illusion of boundless depth. Your thoughts are yours and not yours, and they are all questions. At the base of the pillar stands Thaos, a look of concern on his face as he notes your approach. You have something you want to ask him, one question above all others spinning madly in your mind, but you don't dare ask it yet. You need some admission from him first. Some hint of the veracity of your suspicions.
You are far from your post, Inquisitor. What brings you here?
Your mind races, weighing different angles of approach, your emotions barely in check. So, my past life, my soul as an Inquisitor was also doubtful. Was Iovara telling the truth?
That woman sought only to destroy the foundations of peace and civility that my people sacrificed everything to build.
That's not what I asked. Was the entire Inquisition based on a lie?
The Inquisition was based on the need to cut the flesh from a rotting wound.
Again, that was not my question. What is this place?
We are in a sanctum holy to Woedica. There are others like it in service to the other gods. I come here often to pray for her counsel, and in this space I may be assured that she hears me.
The machine behind you, what does it do?
It has many uses, but its purpose is to bring structure to the chaos that surrounds it.
All these statues, who are they of?
They are monuments to Woedica's greatest servants among my people. I hope to join them myself one day, but my work is not yet complete.
You are shaking now, having lost all patience for tact. No more evasions. You have to know. Everything you believed, everything you have done for the gods. Did you lie to me when you said the gods could end suffering? Thaos says nothing. Are there no gods?
What is a god? A higher power? A rewarder of good deeds and punisher of the wicked? Something men can turn to in their darkest moments when their days seem only like bridges from one tragedy to the next. Our gods are all these things.
With Thaos's every word, you find yourself losing control of a boiling cauldron of rage and doubt and fear and hopelessness until you can take it no more. Are there no gods?
We are in a sacred place within earshot of the gods themselves. This is not the time. You've been through much these past few months. You will return home and you will rest. When you feel you have recovered, you may rejoin us at the trials. The Inquisition is far from over, and I will have need of you. There are many who continue to spread the lies of the apostate. The Inquisition will not end until we have pronounced judgment on all of them.
His eyes linger on you, and there is no mistaking the threat behind it, and your rage shrinks at the image of an iron wheel in your mind, monolithic and caked with the dried blood of thousands. You do not ask your question again. You will answer to me, bitch. He has lost his hood.
How did you find it?
I didn't. It was Lady Webb.
Another in a string of acts of petty defiance. For all her knowledge, she always preferred spite over reason.
It was reason that guided her hand in this.
Then she should have obeyed. I ask one thing of all my followers. She was incapable. A waste of rare talent and intellect.
Her talent and intellect were far too great for her to live as your servant.
What of your cohorts, then? They have followed you to their deaths. Is it loyalty that brings them here? Or is it, as my agents suggest, that they have no direction of their own?
It's friendship, bitch, something you know nothing about.
You worshipped Aethys, did you not?
Don't you speak to it there?
Your spies are good. What gave me away? The cape?
Yet when your god needed you the most, you chose your country.
Eder frowns, irritated.
We were being invaded. Not by anyone who was acting like a god.
Then I should think your hometown gave you a hero's welcome when you returned.
They made cake. Hard to blame people for losing faith when it's the gods who are misbehaving.
The gods argue over how best to prevent Kith society from destroying itself. These disruptions would not be necessary were mortal instinct not so diseased. You have devoted yourself to studying the work of my people. Why?
So now he's turning towards the big Omawa, Kana.
I thought your people had much to teach us. That we too could create great machines, improve our ships, Make an empire as vast and impressive as yours ever was, built upon your secrets.
And did you ever consider that these were things you were never meant to understand? That their comprehension is beyond you?
Oh, this should be voiced, come on. I know better. The Ingwithans weren't an infallible race. You were never gods. All your petty experiments, your heinous crimes, your glorious achievements. You were just people, and your time came and went. Ingwith is a lesson now for those who remain.
You are living in the time of my people, Amawa. You owe them more than you will ever comprehend, and so it shall ever be. Greater civilizations than yours have attempted to reclaim what we buried. The greater their successes, the worse their fates in the end. I have seen to it.
Duran stares at Thaos with a beast snarl. Thaos watches him calmly.
You built a weapon that delivered exactly as promised.
I served my goddess as you did yours.
Yet the other builders were slain. 11 of a dozen. Why not you? Were you somehow different? Redeemable in your god's sight?
Whatever desire I had to be redeemed in her eyes was weakness, purged by the Watcher's sight.
You tell him, Durance.
Or was it merely that your goddess wanted you dead as well, and your delusions of importance prevented you from seeing the obvious?
A whore's beguiling charms, nothing more. But the spell's broke now, Thaos. The trial's over. I know friend from foe, and I've come here now to see a foe repaid.
You were able to destroy a god because another god wished it. Without her hand to guide you, you could not strike at a god any more than you could strike the sky. You are impotent, and not just from the pox.
Wow.
State your name and purpose, young acolyte.
So he's talking to Aloth now.
My name belongs to the gods, in my hand to their service. And I'm going to purge it of your stain.
Yeah.
You serve none but yourself. Without contact with your order, you can have no higher purpose. Only the base concerns of the flesh. You have cast yourself from our ranks.
No. I've risen above them. I'll take the leaden key and lead in a way that you, who remained nothing more than a slave to the gods, never could.
A leader without insight, directing an organization that does not question. Quite a vision, Initiate. You are here because you are lost. The gods cannot reach everyone, I'm afraid. May you fare better in your next lives.
Interesting. He has nothing to say to the grieving mother. He directs his gaze at you.
I gather you have had your soul awakened. Why else would you shadow my footsteps like some stray mongrel? You think I have something to offer you, but our business was concluded long ago.
One of us is going to die in this room. You may as well admit your lie to me before that.
I answered your questions once. That your soul is not fit to accept the answers is of little concern to me. I lied to no one. Not to you, not to anyone. The gods are real. They are everything we need them to be, and the world is better for it.
Let's look at our options. You deny the generation its place in the world. You're saying this somehow improves things. You have lied to everyone, yourself most of all. You convinced me once that spreading your false faith would end atrocities, yet here you are committing your own. You have lied to everyone, yourself most of all.
I have no illusions about the costs involved. But what your brief lifespan obscures is that it is what must be done. The heart of this country has skipped a beat, nothing more. I have done far worse. I plunged the peaceful kingdom of Telosus into civil war. I slew the monarch of Desantio, whose people never knew hardship under his rule, and replaced him with a cruel despot who brought them to ruin. When plague arrived at the great city of Arborensis, I saw to it that the cure did not. They piled their dead outside the city in heaps that rose above their walls.
Why though? Nothing could justify these atrocities.
That's where you are mistaken. There was a time, back when your soul was still a shapeless mist, when the world believed only in false gods. Thousands of them. Gods that told them to take slaves. Gods that told them to make war upon their neighbors and devour the slain. Gods that told them to burn their children alive and cover themselves in the ashes as a sign of their faith. But all that changed when they learned of the true gods. Our gods. All those misshapen, bestial instincts melted beneath the radiance of our god's majesty. You could see it in their eyes. That dull emptiness replaced with the glimmer of a kindled spark.
The spark of false hope.
There is no false hope. Only hope for things that never come. Have you imagined this existence? The one the apostate would have created. We are not all so virtuous as she. Without our gods, the most wicked, the most tyrannical, they would take that power for themselves. But more than that, it would be a hollow existence. All mysteries forever unanswered. All purposes constructed from meaninglessness. No endings to bring closure. Only a wheel, turning without mercy, grinding our spirits to dust.
You underestimate people.
For all my years, I have seen exactly what they are capable of. What the apostate asked was beyond any man. All I have seen, the millennia of experience. I will not be dissuaded from this course. This is the only way.
You are blind to think yours is the only way. You are controlled by your own doubts.
We are all controlled by our own doubts. Better that we should be relieved of them. With your soul and thousands of others, I will see this world purged of its suffering. Hear me, Woedica. Your servant calls for aid.
Thaos puts his hands out low to either side as though welcoming some unseen guest. He shuts his eyes and casts his face skyward. Oh, game? Okay. Whoa! He has flying knives. And he has two friends. Two very huge friends. Okay, the game doesn't auto-pause. Let's see what's happening here. This guy is casting a shining beacon. This guy is casting devotions for the faithful. And this guy is casting a deflection buff, correct? Shields for the faithful, plus 25 deflection for 45 seconds. We're gonna slow down time, and we're gonna think about how to approach this. One cool thing about these enemies here is that they are vessels. So if I had equipped on Eder, I mean, does this work actually? Well, I can prone vessels on critical hits, but with Saint Yidwin's Redeemer, we could actually just straight up kill them on a hit or a critical hit 25% of the time, which is quite funny. But right now what I need is to take control of the situation. I will need Eder to tank one of these, and I will need Kana to tank the other one. And I'm gonna bring the rest of my people back. The only exception could be... maybe I can send Eder to try to knock this guy down, while the rest of my people are trying to run away. So yeah, you guys back away. Kana, sorry, Kana, you have a job to do. He's casting a shining beacon over here, I believe, so maybe go there. This guy has the buff. For 110 seconds, we missed him because he has 164 deflection, which is quite a lot. We're still backing up. You can start beating on that guy. I think Kana is gonna tank both of these, actually. and we're gonna tank, and Eder is starting to beat on this one. Although I should probably split the damage here, send Eder over there. So Eder takes one, Kana takes the other one, and we are gonna work on this guy. So my accuracy is 115, so I don't believe I'm gonna be able to shoot this guy and stun him or disable him. But we have to do something. So I'm gonna start with an Envenomed Strike on him. I'm gonna start buffing with Durance to give us all accuracy and maybe debuff this guy as well. And I'm gonna start buffing with Aloth. If I need to spread apart, I will do so after this guy casts this. And I'm going to try and... Oh right, I also had this. Steps to the wheel. Paralyzed for 4.1 seconds, sickened for 10 seconds. Okay. And this one bypasses 25 damage reduction. Okay. But I need to have some more accuracy before I start beating on this guy. So let's just shoot him normally here.
Well,
Okay, so Eder, go for that one. Try to knock him down. Envenomed Strike actually hits for not that much, but it still hit. My shot, I think, missed. This guy is casting a Magran's thingy, which is that AoE that sticks on the ground, which is kind of nasty. I want you to have Vigorous Defense to tank that guy. And I don't want to have my people stay on top of this AoE here. So I'm gonna move Cordumt over there. She's gonna move over there. You're gonna move back as well. And you are buffed, so move back as well. Okay. You can keep on shooting that guy. I'm gonna give us all some more accuracy. Now, I'm gonna keep on buffing Aloth as long as I have the chance to do so. But I could also try to, instead of buffing myself with a lot of, you know, defensive buffs, I could try starting to work on this guy. Because the only thing he has right now is a deflection bonus. So if I could hit him with other stuff, it might prove useful. So something like, for example, an Eldritch Aim. And I now have Devotions for the Faithful, which means I have 135 accuracy. I will try to sap him, see if that works. Or just shoot him, and after I have this, then I'll try to sap him. You are gonna buff with Eldritch Aim. Then you're gonna go for a Miasma of Dull-Mindedness. And then we're gonna go for an Archimedes' Wondrous Torment. And if these things land, then I can disable him properly.
How may I help?
Okay, so this I think actually missed everything. No, it didn't. It's a symbol of Woedica. It actually hit people. Amazing. So move back. Oh, he's casting Confusion. That's not good. Okay, I don't want Confusion. So we're gonna go for a Prayer Against Bewilderment over here. Make sure my rogue is safe. The Grieving Mother can keep on shooting. Oh, we did hit him. He's stunned. We are buffed up. You guys are still tanking properly. Good. Let me think here. You are gonna move back from this debuff here. He's still trying to cast his Confusion, but now we are immune to it. Awesome. Shoot him again. Aloth is tossing out his thing. So again, let's go for the accuracy buff here. You can come here and hit. He was hit by the Miasma of Dull-Mindedness. Good. So Archimedes' Wonderful Torment, or Wondrous Torment, he was also hit by it. And they actually don't stack, it suppresses the other one. So this means that his will score right now is not the best will score possible. So what can I do here to try and, you know, make use of this? I could use the Arcane Dampener, because it targets will, and remove the shields for the Faithful. And I think I will do that. And after that, oh, this is Fortitude. This is deflection. Okay, we'll see what I do. So she's blasting him in the face. Not for very much damage, but you know, it is what it is. Okay. He has the arcane dampener on him, which means he no longer has a deflection buff. So I am gonna try and sap him. Okay, so there is... he bugged out again. Just do one thing, please. Just do that. Okay, thank you. Now try to knock him down. You are going to try and debuff this guy. And then give us all hit to crit conversion. And the Grieving Mother, what can you do? She could go for body attunement, but this only steals damage reduction. I could go for a tactical meld. Plus 20 accuracy when attacking the same enemy as a target. I like this. So let's get this buff. I'm gonna aim at my rogue here. Okay. He was hit by my sap. Awesome. Let's blind him as well. And now, with Mr. Aloth, let me see if I can find something here. Because... where is this? Core dumped, interrupted, dealt damage. So his deflection is now 94, which isn't that great. And Aloth's accuracy is 120. So I am gonna go for... this is also Fortitude. This is Reflex, Fortitude and Will. I'm gonna go for this. The Crushing Doom. Just keep on beating on him with crushing damage. So let's do that on him. And then we shall see. So I'm gonna blind him. We are debuffing with Durance. He was hit by it. He's dazed, okay. So I'm thinking about... now I have some time to actually buff up. We're gonna go for the minor avatar here. Oh! I think he transferred his soul onto that vessel over there. Okay. So... okay, not sure what's happening here. But we're gonna work with this. We're all gonna go back here. Not sure if he's healing or not. This guy is casting Devotions for the Faithful again. Which I don't really care about. Let me see if I can paralyze the guy by tossing this over there. And I would love to have a defensive mind web up. I have minor avatar. So you shoot him. You cast Envenom Strike. And now that we have time to do some stuff here with Durance. Okay, we did paralyze him for 10 seconds. I am gonna go for the Crowns for the Faithful. And just overall buff the hell out of my people here. Some Champion's Boons on my Rogue. Aloth has done his thing. So what can Aloth do here? We can prevent some stuff. I think I will simply do some defensive buffs here while I have the time. Also take that. Let's take a Safeguard. And I think this should be enough. Kana is doing a very good job with this guy, and he's even frightening him. Let's get some ogres over here to flank him and help out with damage. Okay, a good shot. He's immune to the to this, I keep forgetting. Just keep on shooting. Okay. Focus on the guy. Don't know if he's healing or not, but I think we're still good. My rogue is doing some nice damage. Aloth is buffing the hell up. Okay, I like to see it. So, what does this do? This gives me deflection and reflex. I like that. And it's also going to be good for when we have a defensive mind web. So let's go for it. Okay. We have finished buffing with Mr. Durance. We have Champion's Boon on my rogue, and I think that's the only one we actually need. I'm gonna move a little bit forward here. And I'm gonna go for the Spark, the Souls of the Righteous. Aloth can shoot this guy. I'm gonna come over here with Eder. Actually, I'm not, because he's about to end this thing. I am gonna move forward then, and I'm gonna use the defensive mind web here. This guy is still just chilling. I think I need to kill this one for him to come out. Okay, let's get a little bit closer. Good. Near death. Let's continue buffing with everything we have. I could go for shields for the faithful as well to get even more deflection. And then possibly a circle of protection as well. We're going all out here. Okay. Oh, Eder also got it. So we are very, very well defended. Let me see here. Yes, we are. He's about to die. Dead. So I'm guessing his soul will go back to him. A cleansing flame, you say, you bitch. Okay, so he still has the shields for the faithful. This shouldn't matter too much because we have a lot of accuracy right now. I'm gonna sap him again. We're gonna shoot him. We're gonna shoot him with an Envenom Strike. Eder can also try to knock him, well, not knock him down, but just deal damage here. Okay, let's see what happened. Did we get hit? Did we get hit? Activates Cleansing Flame. But I don't think he actually hit any of my people. Everybody seems to be safe. It takes a while with all of the buffs we have. You can also go beat on him. Okay, he's still only injured, which is kind of amazing. Go flank him. He is stunned for 4 more seconds. He is badly injured, so I'm gonna go for a finishing blow. He's casting Confusion while stunned, so we're gonna go for the bugs again with the game. Eder is immune, but she is not, so I am gonna give everybody a prayer against bewilderment here. Should be okay. Okay, so we are safe now. Keep beating on him. Dead. Yeah. Let's go for the last one. But this should be a matter of just finishing them off now. The Grieving Mother can go for a Silent Scream. I can blind this guy. You can just keep on shooting. He's badly injured. Go for a finishing blow as well. Pew! Wow. And dead. My friends, it is done. I'm very happy that the finishing blow for my main character finished off Thaos. At your feet rests the body of Thaos. Hollow, the dense wrinkles shaped by the silent smoldering of an eternal burden now smoothed across his color-drained face. His soul remains still for the moment, defenseless, its energy expended in defeat. It lies sprawled across his body like a death shroud.
All those lifetimes spent to preserve a single vital secret. I would expect a man to reconsider his choices after the first 500 years.
I would say so.
That's the servant down, and the mistress still to go. A good start, worthy of being built upon.
Thousands of souls he has tortured. Would that he could live those sufferings 1,000 times himself.
At some point, you have to look at the things your god is telling you to do. And ask yourself if it's worth it. All those lives. And at the end of them, he was no better than the very people he sought to guide. A pity you would ever have to face that realization again.
Let's explore Thaos' soul. With a deep breath, you plunge into Thaos' soul, and where in Brackenberry it had been a maze of narrow corridors and dead ends, now it is expansive and borderless, its walls crumbling into heaps like the ruins of Ingwith as you pass through them. You travel for what seems like ages, rushing to a known destination, a memory you glimpsed once before. At last, you see it. No more than a pinprick of light at the end of a long tunnel, expanding slowly at first, then quickly as you near. You come out in the room you are standing in now, but it is new and pristine and filled with people, thousands of them, all turned towards the great Adra pillar and the machine that encases it. Thaos stands at the machine, and you are one with him now. You look out at the crowd, at faces of shriveled old men and sheet-up-cheeked little girls, at mothers bouncing infants to quiet them, and fathers clasping their children's restless hands and watching you with somber acceptance. A woman with tears in her eyes gives you a small nod. You turn back toward the machine, your breaths constricted beneath the weight of unwanted knowledge, preparing yourself to set out alone on a journey without end. You close your eyes and open them again to find the machine still in front of you, beckoning. You take your place in front of it and place your hands upon a large mechanical disc at the base of the great crystal column and speak a single word. Giant rings creak to life, building speed, setting arrays of carved draconic mouths aglow and sending tremors through the platform beneath you. The entire room shakes now with the force of the accelerating machine, all sound drowned out by its deep, deafening thrum. Brilliant tendrils of light arced outward from the pillar in all directions, and you look over your shoulder to see them engulfing the crowd, burning them brightly like hot iron. Maybe that's why we have all of the ash vessels around here. One by one, the tendrils disappear, leaving ashen effigies where people once stood, many of them disintegrating into grey heaps under the stress of the tremors. You look above to the other pillar, and the glowing spherical mass has begun to coalesce atop the column where the arcs converge. It grows and pulses, translucent and bulbous like some immense chrysalis, suspended in slow rotation as though it were being spun from the arcs of light. When the last arc disappears, the spectral mass hangs for a moment, no longer rotating, so bright you must shield your eyes with an outstretched hand, and it seems to you as though it is looking at you. You bow your head in acknowledgement and look back up to see it melt into the pillar like warm candle wax. The pillar flares with a flash of light bright as the sun itself, then fades to darkness. The machine slows down to an abrupt halt, and when the last echo of its grinding cogs has passed, the chamber is still, and you are alone. From all sides, reality begins to bleed in through the memory, and you find yourself in your own skin once more, looking down on Thaos' lifeless body. You sense a listlessness to Thaos' soul, an overwhelming fatigue that hinders its immediate escape and makes it vulnerable to manipulation. You feel as though your victory has given you some kind of hold over it, and you are able to do with it as you please. So let's see what we have. We can return the soul into the cycle. You will remember this, Thaos. Remember that no man can hide the truth forever, and all you've done was done in futility. Your memory shall be your penance. We can tear his soul apart. I do not envy you, Thaos. I, of all people, realize the sway memories can hold. It is time you were granted peace. We can banish his soul to Braith Iaman. Thaos ix Arkannon. There can be no forgiveness for your deeds, only justice. You shall escape judgment no more. And we can also destroy all memories contained within. Your memory makes you a slave to your own past. Perhaps it can't be undone, but it can be forgotten. It shall trouble neither of us any longer. Or, we can also tear his soul apart, but for a different reason. You caused me great suffering, Thaos. You do not deserve to exist. Okay. So let's see. I don't want to just return him to the cycle. It seems dangerous. Tearing his soul apart works. He goes away forever. There is a certain... I'm missing the word. But this one feels right, since he did the same thing to Yovara. She is also stuck in Braith Iaman forever. We can erase his memories. Or we could just kill him again. Probably the most just outcome would be to imprison him, banish his soul to breathe Yaman. But at the same time, if somebody in the future for some reason manages to take him out, he can be dangerous once again. So, banish him and return it to the cycle. Both of these seem like they could be dangerous in the future. And all three of these seem fine to me. But I'm thinking, I'm a benevolent person. I just don't want this guy to cause any more grief and suffering to anybody in the world again. So, I do not envy you, Thaos. I of all people realize the sway memories can hold. It is time you were granted peace. And we're just gonna tear his soul apart so it can no longer exist.
Was there nothing there worth saving? Forgive me. I know you chose wisely.
I had my reasons, Kana. You reach out for Thaos' soul, and you can feel its frailty and defeat, its texture like a coarse and threadbare cloth on the brink of disintegration. You insinuate yourself between the threads, pushing the weaving apart, unraveling the stitching until it is bereft of structure, a formless heap bound together by nothing at all. In its midst, you dedicate your focus to a single idea, and the idea is shatter. You concentrate, and as you concentrate, you feel a force building within your soul, an outward pressure that strains against containment, threatening to rupture your spirit. When you can contain it no more, you transfer it into Thaos' soul all at once and release it there, a detonation of will that expands in all directions, driving out the remnants of his essence, scattering it into nothingness. You can feel his presence no more. In the stillness that follows, a single word echoes through your mind, a word you spoke when you were one with Thaos in an ancient memory. You realize it is the word that activates the machine. Cool fight. I think we did well. I'm not sure if my choice here was the best choice possible. Everybody wants to talk to me, and Piggy is still with us, this wonderful, wonderful companion. Let's see what my companions have to say.
Thaos, he had hold of your soul from a long time back, seems like. You get what you needed from him?
I got an answer to an old question.
Well, those can be hard to come by, but maybe that's best. Forces you to find your own footing. You'll be feeling better soon then. Good. That's real good. You got it figured out what you're going to do about all that?
Yep.
Got a lot of people out there thinking they've been abandoned by their gods. There's not much that'll put the fear in you more than that. You can take my word for it. If it was in my power, and I know it's not, but if it was, I'd find a way to give them the courage to face it. Not because they think there's some god looking out for them, but because they've just got it in them. And after what you've been through, though, I'm sure you got your own ideas. Better make it good.
He winks. So let me see here. If it were him, and he knows it's not, he would find a way to give them the courage to face it. Not because they think there's some real god looking... Oh, but he's talking about the people, not the souls. Okay. Kana.
We've come to the end of it, my friend. It has been an honor to walk this road with you, and I will regret our parting.
All the hard-won lessons we have survived, I will carry back with me to Rawatai. I'll try to do justice by your story. It's both stranger and more exciting than anything I could have conjured up. Kana studies you for a moment, then smiles. Victory agrees with you, Cordant. You look as if a great weight has lifted from your shoulders. I am glad for it. Thank you, my friend. Aloth?
Astounding. I always knew the Leaden Key stood for something big, but I didn't quite realize what I'd gotten myself into. And now, you're in the middle of something even bigger. The decision that will affect millions. This is beyond either of us. The certainty of the gods is a mercy. Power like this is a heavy burden. Just look at how it crushed Thaos. Perhaps he was right to surrender it to Woedica.
Thaos was wrong.
It's your decision, of course. And whatever you decide, I'm glad our paths crossed in Gilded Vale.
It's good to see that they all have their own opinions. They're not all just like, go this one specific route, and I like that.
Thaos may be gone, but his crimes, the wounds he has inflicted, remain. Yet before you lies an opportunity to heal, to restore. Only through the healing of families, repairing the bonds between parent and child, reforging the shattered links between generations, can the Dyrwood be knit whole once more.
I'm sorry, grieving mother. I know she means well, but that's not the path that I have chosen. And I've gone through my reasoning for this, but like I said before, I don't think it's wise to take souls that have, yet come to exist and stick souls of what would be an infant into people of all different ages that are now Hollowborn. I think that's going to bring more problems than it solves. I might be wrong, but I think that the way that Berath wants to do it, to just return them to the cycle so that they can become new lives at the next turn of the wheel, I think makes more sense. So I'm not sure I agree.
I cannot stop you, Watcher, nor can I accomplish what must be done. But I beg you to use this rare chance for mercy and restoration. That is all.
I consider my choice mercy and restoration, even if it's not the restoration you are looking for. And finally, Durance.
The end of the road greets us at last. You fared well, Watcher. Better than any Watcher has right to. Seems you were a field in need of a flame's cleansing. Would that my own trial had produced such an outcome. I had figured myself for the field all this time. But you were the field, and I the darkness. A lesson neither of Durance nor of Margaret. But with that trial's end, a new one begins. A god's trial. And I will stand in judgment without mercy.
I love Durance.
Hey.
Okay, so that's all that's all that this area had here.
All right then.
With the exception, naturally, of the Great Inquisitive Machine. So this wasn't me clicking on the machine, by the way, this was just me approaching it. As you approach the machine, the path underfoot suddenly changes to a cobbled road. If you hadn't experienced visions like this already in Ter Evron, you'd be tempted to believe that the machine had sucked you into it and deposited you in the middle of nowhere. The sun blazes overhead, and the rolling meadows and thick forests on either side of the road could be anywhere in the Dyrwood. A shrill cackle turns your head. Standing next to you is a malnourished man clad in a threadbare loincloth and manacles. His entire body is stripped with lash marks, and there are scarred pits where his nose and ears should be. He stinks of stale sweat and unwashed filth. You notice someone wandering down the road, but the figure's back is to you. The scarred slave has your attention for now.
You know something of quiet servitude, Watcher. Groveling and simpering before the gods whose aid you need, so that when they finally raise you to a place of power, you can seize what you desire. You have labored at the pleasure of others. That shriveled hag in Hodred House. Those well-bred thieves with their lordly pretensions. The wretched tribesmen playing out their fantasies of grandeur. And then you cowered and knelt before the gods themselves, begging one paltry favor and receiving riddles and visions in response. And now the gods give you orders and commands, even while you set out to fix what they cannot. Yet what have they offered you?
Given the breadth of the iron manacle, it's amazing that he can raise his bone-thin arm. But he does, and he points to the person walking the other way along the road.
The exiled queen is not an ungrateful patron.
You get a better look at the lone figure and realize that she's wearing robes, tattered and singed, but fine nonetheless. On her head is the silhouette of a broken crown. She continues walking, her pace slow but determined.
Finish the work Thaos began. Strengthen Woedica with these souls and allow her to become the most powerful of all the gods, with you as her favored.
I've been working against Woedica this whole time. Why would she thank me now after I've defeated her most loyal servant? And helping Woedica would mean that the secrets of the god... Okay, go with this one. The ragged hole in Skane's face wrinkles with disgust. Loyal and weak, Thaos proved his inadequacy when he failed to anticipate you. A plan exposed is worse than none at all. But you have proven resourceful, equal to the schemes of the gods. Woedica has a long memory, Watcher, for both friends and foes, and she keeps her oaths. Helping Woedica would mean that the secrets of the gods stay hidden. He rubs his hands together, his black eyes gleaming. Safely hidden, yes. From the violent overlords who would cease to fear punishment in the next life. From the heavy-handed masters who would answer to no one. The world needs some schemes. Or are the souls of Kit so pure that you would snap the tenuous threads that bind society? Have caution, Cordant. All schemers desire an ignorant multitude. Kana's shoulders are set in a straight line, his expression grim. What they fear most is that we should know enough not to be content in our places. What do you mean by her favorite? The recipient of Woedica's blessings. She has always had a place for mortals of particular merit. If you help her now, she will become the most powerful of all the gods. And you will be the one who made her so. Think of the lifetimes of reward you would reap. The only reward I wish is the joy of pulling bloody shards of her broken crown from my staff when I have finished with her trial. Skane turns his flinty eyes on Durance. So says your companion who's been abandoned by his own god. Do you really trust him to make alliances for you? Skane takes a bundle at his feet and hefts the burden onto his pack. I've explained the alternative, Watcher. Continue as a pawn of the gods or a partner of one. At the other end of the road, the figure stops. She turns her head just enough to look over her shoulder. Her face is mostly hidden, but one merciless eye peers at you from a cheek of rippled, scorched flesh. I won't help you.
You say that now, but when you're standing in front of the machine, considering the lifetimes and the powers that await you, we'll see what you do.
He continues down the road, and when the sun suddenly drops below the horizon, it plunges you into momentary darkness. You come to your senses in front of the machine. All these evils we've seen, going all the way back to the Saints' War, that was all Woedica. Imagine if she was stronger on top of it all. Yeah, I like it there. And something I remembered when we were talking over there and Durance chimed in is... I hadn't actually looked at his staff to see if it had leveled up, and apparently it does not. Yeah, okay. It does not.
Hey.
The machine resonates with the energy of thousands of souls. Standing near it makes your head spin. Are you guys ready? With your companions bearing witness, you step up to the place where Thaos once stood before his people long ago. The great machine lies in front of you, idle, ready. You have seen this machine and others like it in operation. You understand how it works. It is a device for directing souls. As a watcher, it would be a simple matter to influence that direction, though as big as the machine is, it may be the last thing you ever do. Speak the command to activate the machine. There is a shrieking of stone grinding against stone as old cogs loosen and begin to turn. You have only moments before the souls will be sent into the other vein. This will be your only chance at redirecting them. So this is the major choice we get to do here. We can send the souls back into the reincarnation cycle, and I believe this is what we're going to do. This is what Berath was telling us to do. We can return the souls to the bodies they were intended for. This is Helia. Entropically disintegrate the souls, ending their existence. This is Rimmergand. Distribute the essence to existing souls in Dyrwood to strengthen them. This is Galawain. Allow the souls to pass through the vein to Woedica. You can guess which one this is. Or we can disperse the souls to an unknown location, and this is Whale's request. So like I said at the beginning, I'm an honest and benevolent person. I think the best choice here is balance, and I made a promise to Berath. I'm gonna keep that promise. Even if he is not a god in the truest sense, they still do exist and they still hold power over souls and over the world. And I think that's the best choice, so I am going to send the souls back into the reincarnation cycle. You close your eyes and expand your perception outward, taking in the immense totality of the tens of thousands of souls orbiting the chamber. Your grasp on the souls is tenuous. You find yourself fighting to keep them all within your influence, and you can feel them slipping away from you as the machine gains speed. A brief moment comes when it feels as though you hold all of them at once, and their force is so great it feels as though they will tear you apart. In that moment, you dedicate your entire being to bending their orbit, channeling their flow in a new direction.
At your command, the ancient device became your instrument, spinning to life with deafening resonance and gathering up the swirling essence like thread on a great spindle. There, in the pale, pulsing glow of the machine that set you on this path long ago, you summoned all your strength, focusing on your objective and blocking out all else. With a single concussive blast that rocked the chamber and sent you tumbling to the ground, you freed the souls from their stasis. Exhausted, your consciousness slipping away, your last sight was of the machine, dark and dormant. Then your eyes closed, and sleep welcomed you at long last. After coming to and searching for some time, you discovered the route Thaos used to enter Sun in Shadow, and embarked on a long and arduous ascent back to the surface. You emerged in Ter Evron after days of tunneling through the rubble Thaos had left behind, and when you stepped into the daylight, you were faced with a different Dyrwood than the one you had left. At your direction, the lost souls of the Hollowborn were funneled back into the churn of Bareth's wheel to find their way into new vessels and partake in the life they had been denied during Widewind's legacy. Though parents of Hollowborn would remain just that, the end of Widewind's legacy would bring about a spate of new, healthy births, with many of the infants bearing souls once meant for Hollowborn children. The natural cycle of life and death had been restored to Dyrwood, and with it came a renewed faith in the providence of the gods. Lord Radric's zeal had brought him back to life once, but it would not do so again. Radric's destruction at your hands spelled the end of his suffocating rule over Gilded Vale and the surrounding area. In his absence, the village prospered, becoming a popular destination for new settlers anxious to leave Defiance Bay after the riots. Without a nearby ruler, it also grew more wild, with many settlers moving on as soon as they'd arrived, turned off by lawlessness that was excessive even by Dyrwoodan standards. Nevertheless, despite the challenges of living there, Gilded Vale had survived, and would continue to survive.
Okay,
for the
so not
future.
so bad.
Following the assassinations of Duke Avar Wolfgren and Lady Webb, Defiance Bay was thrown into political upheaval. In the ensuing weeks, the streets had become the domain of looters and blackguards. Few dared to step outside their own doors alone or unarmed. But order would soon come from an unexpected source. House Dominel, realizing that stability was good for business, brought the city's criminal elements in line through a systematic campaign of fear and intimidation. Capitalizing on a
Not
reputation
ideal.
for brazen fearlessness earned with the murder of a marshal of the Crucible Knights, the Dominels aggressively pressed their authority, murdering all would-be rivals and collecting coin from all transactions in the city, and becoming arguably the most influential house in all of Dyrwood. Defiance Bay would not fare so well. Squeezed by the Dominels for every piece of copper, prices soared, and trade ground to a halt.
God damn it.
Many commoners found themselves unable to make a living, or forced from their homes to make room for others more favored by House Dominel. Petty crime, prostitution, and vagrancy would reach new heights under their watch, and many would flee the city in droves for the more favorable economy of New Heomar. The destruction of the machine atop Ter Noaneth spelled the end of the reanimated corpses in Heritage Hill. Though at first few were willing to venture into the abandoned district, it was soon cleaned out and rebuilt. The district's horrors still fresh in people's minds. It would be some time before it was fully repopulated, but eventually the lure of cheap prime land would all but erase the memory.
Good.
The Duke's assassination at the apparent hands of an animancer had caused catastrophic rioting in the streets of Defiance Bay. But those who had escaped the melee in the palace hearings remembered the testimonies of the strange guest who had shown up that day and absolved animancy, implicating the leaden key instead.
That was me.
The rumor spread quickly, and soon the popular belief was that the assassin had been a leaden key spy. When the legacy had lifted, people came to see it not as a sign that the riots had been according to the god's wishes, as Thaos had hoped, but as a confirmation that animancy had never been the source of the problem in the first place. Dyrwoodans instead convinced themselves that the riots had somehow purged Defiance Bay of leaden key spies, and that the end of Whitewind's legacy was their well-deserved reward. The rage against animancers was quickly forgotten, and those who had survived were permitted to return to Brackenbury Sanitarium and rebuild it so they might resume their studies.
Also good.
Abidon's renewal brought new vigor and purpose to a god long known for quiet, steady labor. Handicraft saw a revival in the Dyrwood, and no smith wanted for an apprentice. Additionally, Abidon's restored interest in preservation led to redoubled efforts to survey Engwithan ruins. Animancers and craftsmen alike found much to study, but tensions with Eir Glanfath rose. As for Stalwart, the Battle of Caeron's Scar only strengthened their resolve to unlock the mysteries of Durgan's steel and build new marvels with the White Forge.
Awesome.
However, Stalwart's ambitions brought them into further conflict with the Raid Sarans,
God damn it.
as more and more impoverished communities gathered at the border and vowed to finish the work of the Iron Flail. It would be many generations before the region saw peace.
You can't win them all.
The Flames That Whisper clan found a cautious peace with Stalwart, particularly once the villagers heard of the aid the ogres had offered against the Eyeless. The clan moved back into the Russetwood, and as Stalwart grew in prestige, the villagers formed a tighter alliance with their ogre neighbors. Within a generation, ogre traders visited Stalwart, and village hunters were welcome in the Russetwood.
Nice.
Maneha never found the salt well,
God damn it.
but she found a kind of peace in her duties as a gift-bearer, and in the ebb and flow of her journeys. As she traveled and accepted burdens from Andra's supplicants, she saw in their eyes a kind of peace that she had not previously noticed. It was faith, not that Andra had freed them of their pain, guilt, and regret, but that she would, a little more each year. With that realization, Maneha learned to accept that Andra's ways were as gradual as they were inexorable. The fortress of Cadnua emerged as a bastion of security in the midst of an untamed land, becoming the envy of every thane and earl in Dyrwood. Legend grew over time of its impregnability, and stories of formidable invaders easily scattered by the keep's defenses became popular around the hearths of Dyrwoodinians. Likewise, it also became a beacon to travelers, merchants, and visiting dignitaries alike. Reputed as the finest fortress in all Dyrwood, people would journey from near and distant lands alike to experience its fabled hospitality and grandeur.
Awesome.
After the death of the master below, a strange quiet fell over the endless paths of Odd-Nua. The attacks on the fortress above ceased, Odd-Nua's silent titan the closest remaining thing to a master in its musty, forgotten passages. Pallegina had missed the opportunity to complete her mission from the Duke's Bells.
Sorry.
The Dyrwood's trade with Eir Glanfath remained weak, but the Valian republics were unable to enter Glenfathan markets. For her repeated insubordination and loss of lucrative trade, Pallegina was cast out of the Brotherhood of Five Sons.
Oh, crap.
She traveled north of the Eastern Reach, where she tried to avoid trouble as a caravan guard. but she could not escape the strange looks and unwanted attention her appearance brought.
Well, damn.
Adair chose not to return home to Gilded Vale. Still most comfortable far from cities, he settled in Dyrford, which, like many towns in the Dyrwood, was beginning the slow process of rebuilding. Believing now that it was the obligation of Kith to be the leaders their gods had not, Adair was soon named mayor of the town, and under his guidance, Dyrford soon began to prosper. He expelled the last of the Scanites from the area and drew new settlers with the offer of land, a trick he had learned from someone he otherwise preferred to forget. With each passing day, Dyrford would come to more closely resemble the Gilded Vale of Adair's childhood, the one worthy of its name.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
When the dust settled in sun and shadow, Aloth looked upon the remains of Thaos ix Arkannon, his former master. He saw where the Grandmaster had gone wrong, and he knew what he would do better. The secret of the gods would be preserved, and with it, the sanity and well-being of all Kith. He donned the remains of Thaos' ceremonial garb, and prepared himself for the long and lonely task ahead.
Preserving the
With both their
secret.
aims fulfilled, Kana Rua
Okay.
bid the Watcher farewell, and sailed back to his beloved Rawatai. There, he reported on his findings to the Lore College. Kana spoke of the Engwithan people, describing both their vile experiments and their inspiring accomplishments. He spoke too of the destruction of the tablet by the Leaden Key, and the group's efforts to erase the Engwithan legacy from the world. Both inspiration and cautionary tales, he said, could be found in the world beyond Rawatai's borders. Kana urged his people to continue to pursue knowledge abroad, so that the lessons found there might benefit Tekoa. Kana's inability to prove his theory of Engwithan influence diminished his academic standing, but his passion drew much interest from those less concerned with degrees. Kana swiftly became an influential figure in the move toward a more collaborative approach to expansion on the northern continent. In his personal life, he came to enjoy the reputation of an affable eccentric, willing to share grand and impossible secrets, along with a drink and a song. With Thaos defeated and the souls released from sun and shadow, healthy children were born once again in the Dyrwood. The grieving mother sought a place where she might do penance for the birthing bell. She returned to Dyrford, where, to the astonishment of the villagers, she delivered the first healthy child in over a decade. She remained there, and with each new birth, she saw a measure of hope restored to the Dyrwood, and a measure of grace for her own troubled past. Durrance used Magrin's strength only until Thaos had been cast from the world, and then swore off her influence entirely. Regret came to weigh heavily on his mind, and a man who had never previously lacked for words or opinions came to embrace silence and contemplation. He continued to wander, penniless and destitute, searching now not for the reason for his goddess's silence, but for a mechanism for revenge. The charred robes he continued to wear as a reminder that he had been burned by his goddess, and not just by the flames of the Godhammer. After 5 years of searching for Persoc, Sagani's 4-month journey home felt longer still. The Dyrwood, Aer Glonfoth, the Valian Republics became places on a map, endless expanses of green between her and Nasitok. Her homecoming was celebrated by all of Masuk, yet it was the reunion with Kalu and their children that truly brought her joy. She relinquished her role in the long hunts, and ever after, she and Itumak spent their days working in the village and their nights at her hearth. She watched her own children and their children grow and thrive. When she finally passed, she lay surrounded by the affection and tears of 5 generations. For you, the death of Thaos brought an end to your waking visions and a silence to the whispers of the past. In their absence, you were able to sleep. The questions of a distant lifetime ceased to trouble your soul. All that remained was what to make of the answer. But at the moment, there was little to be done, and the matter would have to wait. A long journey loomed ahead, made no easier by your decision to bring an infant to sun and shadow.
So do you guys remember who that infant is? I mentioned at the time when we were in Twin Helms that there was a quest where somebody wanted to kill a child and you had to steal the child from the crib and deliver it to the Ethic Knoll in the Blood Sands cave for it to be sacrificed. But if you take the child and don't sacrifice it, she remains in your inventory for the entire game, which seems a little bit weird, but apparently they decided to mention it at the end of the of the ending slides, and it's also referenced in the sequel, Pillars of Eternity 2. So I'm gonna skip this. I don't know if there's anything worth checking out at the end. I kind of wanted to speak a little bit about, you know, my thoughts on the game, what we did, the outcome, the story, the lore, our companions. But I think I'm gonna leave that for a separate episode, so that this one doesn't grow too long. Oh my god, this is very long. Are these the backers? I don't know. I just saw Edward and I was happy. Yeah, like I was saying, I'm gonna leave that for a different episode, so this one doesn't go very long. And I will also take the chance to maybe, you know, show off some of the things we have, like our gear, the overall stats, like who did the most damage, who took the least damage, etc, etc. We can go through all of that. Let me just see here. If I load, I have my test druid over here, where I was playing around with the druid and I didn't actually enjoy it that much, but it's in progress. Where is it, by the way? It's still in Gilded Vale. Okay. If I try to load this, where does it place me? This is me kind of thinking about the next episode and seeing what I can do. Because I can't exactly just load to a previous point and, I don't know, do different choices, so let me see here. Ah, okay, so it's when the fight starts. Interesting. Okay, so go away. Not gonna fight again, leave me alone. Sorry about this. Okay, but yeah, so I guess I can just kill them again for when I start the next video, and then we can look at stuff like I was saying, our inventory, our reputations, our both my personal reputation and party reputations in the different areas, and also, you know, stuff like this, time in combat, all those things, and just my thoughts on the game, my review on the game. Let me just quit here. Yes. But yeah, I feel like I have a lot to say, so stay tuned for an extra episode on Pillars of Eternity. There will be no gameplay, I will just be, you know, talking about what I think of the game, the story of the game, the characters we took, the gear that we took, our scores like reputation, most damage, damage taken, all those things, and just, you know, overall a review of the game and why I think it's one of the best games there is, especially one of the best CRPGs you can play nowadays, and why everyone should play it. So stay tuned for that. For now, we're gonna end it right here. It was an amazing journey. It's always very fulfilling to complete one of these runs, especially with the Triple Crown difficulty settings, making sure you are playing well and keeping your party alive. So I'm very happy that I was able to begin this playthrough. We gained a lot of people in the channel talking about the game, sharing their thoughts, asking questions, learning new things, teaching me new things, and I'm just very happy that I was able to complete this journey and not just leave it somewhere in the middle after an embarrassing death. So, as always, thank you so much everyone for being here in the channel and watching some Pillars of Eternity with me. Thank you for all the comments, all the support, all the questions, all the things you guys brought to the channel. It's awesome to be able to share the experience with you all. Like I said, stay tuned for the next episode where we will still have a lot to talk about. And, you know, as usual, if you enjoy this content, stay tuned because there will be more playthroughs of all different kinds of games coming into the channel. There will definitely be coming a Pillars of Eternity 2 into the channel, where I will import this save game to continue our journey in that other adventure. So for Pillars 2, it will be mostly a blind run. I haven't played the game before, so it's gonna be different from this one, but I hope it's gonna be enjoyable. So yeah, if you enjoy this kind of stuff, consider subscribing to the channel. There's videos coming out every single day. It's also a free and easy way to support the channel, so yeah. And I hope to see you around for the next episode. Until then, stay safe everyone.